Okay, welcome to Inane Blather.
That's us.
Please make your selection, followed by the pound sign. Now? Ooh, I wonder, there's a few people that'll understand that reference. They'll be like, wow, 90s music.
I don't understand that reference.
Or is it early 2000s music? Yeah, it's 90s, I think. No, it's the intro to The Offspring's Americana album. Ooh, man, that is some...
Oh, my... You're giving some real...
That's not going to come
vibes.
in. That's not going to come in on the recording.
Dang it. That's right.
Dead air.
That's all you're going to hear.
Funny. That's so funny.
I went to... What would it be here? I just be like, I went to we got new drops. I went to a feminist rally the other day, and all anyone would ever tell me was,
Doug, the only reason I want to have sex with you is so I can have an abortion.
And that's, I mean, rights for all, I guess, but I felt kind of used by Patty Mayonnaise. But anyway, this is Inane Blather. You've made your choice. Now you have to live with it. Because
at least till the end of the episode, please.
Headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Shut the hell up, bitch.
Okay, yeah. So
you're right where you belong.
So how have you been? It's been hot. It's summer. Climate change is slowly boiling all of us alive like lobsters in a pot.
Yeah.
It's warm over there?
Yeah, we now have air conditioning, ductless AC. That's really nice. It's not been on today.
Ductless?
Open the windows when we can. Douglas. It's been very nice because this house is it was built in 1910. It doesn't have the most best insulation and stuff like that. Heat gets in, cold gets in, and all that stuff. So this does a really good job.
We'll just let
nice
the cold in while it's summer. The cold can get in.
Yeah.
You're letting all the cold in. Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's one thing with my house where it's like, I mean, it can be done, but even just thinking about what kind of project it would be to burp all the time.
Oh, wait, before I go on, thanks, Zach. Zach installed it for us. So, thank you so much, and did some work around the house for us because Zach's amazing.
He is.
So thank you.
And that's a shout out to Zach because he'll have to travel all the way over here. It's just a few hours. And put in some mini splits at my house too, because it was just like, well, it'd be interesting putting this duct work in. I mean, I have crawl space, or I don't know if things would go through the attic. I have a wide open attic, but it's like, where would you even put the furnace in my house? I don't know, and all this stuff. It's like, I guess
not good.
It's just I just wouldn't have a closet anymore at the end of the hall, and then it's like, oh, I've had my friends down the street, they put in that mini split head unit type thing. I had that actually at a brand new building when I moved here in 2017. We did the same thing. The only problem is that there it was 2 stories, and so we had 2 head units. Well, no, not just 2, but there was the set of them in the upstairs living area, and then the head unit down in the office. But there's only one heat pump out there. So it's like, you can't, funnily enough, there would be times where you wouldn't want heat in one, but you want it in the other, or it's like getting too warm and you can't turn on the air conditioning while the other one is not set to air conditioning and stuff. It was just kind of weird. But it's like, if it was in my house and it's just the house, it would work perfect. It's not like, it's not like you're doing that. It's like, no, one was an office and then a living space above was kind of annoying. You'd rather have 2 separate systems, but
for sure
they work pretty well. They're cool, and they're not as
definitely works
because when you see the unit or something's like, geez, that monstrosity is going to be in my house.
It doesn't look that bad at all.
They
it's up
don't.
above the TV, and it kind of like blends into the wall.
Yeah,
it's like perfect. And we were just gonna, it does take up precious wall space in this, little house for art, but whatever.
So
I guess
you
I'll
turn
have
it
air
into
conditioning
art,
instead.
and you
Yeah, I
paint
know.
over
we could
it.
draw on it. We could definitely do that. Put all those stickers that Kelsey gave me for my birthday on it. She thought they were going to be like this big, like a couple inches by a couple inches stickers, and they're like 6 inches by 6 inches. They're the size of like a huge bumper sticker.
Yeah, exactly. And what, you won't put them on your car?
Sticker. I already put one. It's the
Oh.
first bumper sticker I've ever put on my car, and it's that rainbow that she gave me a shirt that matches it. It says "Feels good to feel good."
Fucking stupid F word bitch.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
what my bumper sticker says. Someone just told me the other day too. They were just like, "Oh, I knew I saw you the other day. I recognized because the stickers on your truck." And like someone has a truck just like yours, and they have stickers on the back because my truck's very common. And it's silver. It's a silver F-150. I mean, they're everywhere. But
for sure around your parts.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's the one of the number one selling cars in America. But I was like, yeah, but you recognize my Antifa sticker? And they're like, I guess so. I'm like, luckily, just no one knows or cares, and I'm just being a consumer whore by putting a Redbubble sticker on my truck and not doing anything. It's like, but hey, all I know is that if the Proud Boys start marching down the street in my town of 3,900 people, I'll go out there. But I'm not proactive enough of a good American socialist to go out seeking it out. Not enough happens around here where I live. I swear. I don't even think
Proud
like
Boys.
being really red and full of dingbat conspiracy theory doorknobs like we have all over the place here. Even
Dimbulbs.
during Pride Month, I mean, there were Pride events and stuff, and like nothing people weren't out there screaming their heads off and stuff. Like, it's weird how common that shit can seem, being on the internet and seeing all the freaking weirdos being on TikTok, freaking out at Target or this and that stuff does happen, but we always forget that the normie position is generally, I don't care and I don't have time for this.
I don't even vote.
Yeah. The normie position is I don't vote or even go to events or anything. Like, I mean, capitalism puts us there because you don't have time for this shit. Like, you just don't. Like,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Like, I don't have time for all my stuff. I don't have time for this podcast. I mean, people have no idea how far behind I am right now.
People have time to listen to this.
Like in August 2023, we're like, hey, did you hear about this submarine that was going down? It's gonna be like, oh God. But which I'm sure is what this is gonna be like. But
oh, that's so funny.
So do you have anything in particular you want to talk about? Okay, good.
Oh,
well, that's the wrong one.
Dead air.
Yeah, everyone else is just complaining, that prices are going up, their wages are going down, insurance is crazy.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah, I have so many drops in here. I don't even know where the new ones are.
I've been off work for a while now.
Yeah,
with my
that's right.
ankle. So
oh, you're still off work.
Yeah, I have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday, and so that's like what I've been reading. Yeah,
cool.
Reading, yeah, it's been really nice. But had people over, blah blah blah, been busy and all that kind of crap, and so no, I don't have anything. I have barely even been following the news, honestly. I've just been reading.
Dang, if I was stuck in my house, I'd already be a right winger. No, I'm just kidding. I'd be on the internet too much. I'm already on the internet too much.
Yeah, too much screen time after, spending so many hours. I mean, I do watch, obviously, YouTube and stuff, but it felt like boring. Like I was bored.
Boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, unless that's why reading's good. Yeah.
Man, you can really get into it. I can really hardly put it down. Read some really good books. And I'm reading one it's a I started it a long time ago, like I want to say like late elementary school or like middle school, but it was probably a little hard for me then, so I didn't finish it.
Oh.
It's a series, Clan of the Cave Bear.
Yeah.
It's like a series
that's
about...
classic.
Yeah. So I picked it up again, and I'm like 100
And you were
pages
reading
in or
some
whatever.
Tom Robbins too, right?
Oh, I do have Half Asleep in Frog's Pajamas. I don't know where I set it down, so that's why I picked up that other one. But then I read Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. That was so good, it made me want to be a foster parent, legitimately. Like, wow. It's like a modern telling. Like, she attributes a lot of it to, it's like David Copperfield, the book, not the magician, as Kelsey was like, what?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, huh?
Which is a critique of institutional poverty and its effect on children based on Charles Dickens's own
that's Charles
experiences.
Dickens, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so this is like a modern telling, and it's like in Tennessee or West Virginia, in
Mountain
Appalachia, where it's in the 90s, and he's growing up. There's poverty and OxyContin and teenage pregnancy and foster care system and blah 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 blah, and it's just this kid's story there, and it's the winner of a Pulitzer Prize. It was really good. I read it in just a couple days, and I would really recommend it. I really like her compassionate viewpoint and her care for rural America, because I grew up in rural America, and they do get left behind. And
Sure.
like in that book, it talks about like really made fun of like these, like rednecks and stuff, and like the caricatures of them, like where is their kind of representation in like the media? There's white
Sure.
people, but not people like them, unless they're like fucking you like a stuck pig in Deliverance or
Yeah.
whatever, like
Yeah, it
hillbillies
is
and stuff, and how they're like
classism.
evil kind of, and like
Yeah, sure.
and like how that part of
That's why you don't
West
say
Virginia,
white trash, because
Yeah.
you're too holier than thou or whatever
Yeah.
for these fucking
Like,
redneck hick bums that
because a lot of
are
those
drain
places-
on
yeah.
society. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Different
you know where I
counties that-
live. Yeah, so
Yeah, didn't even like at that point, like this racist whatever. It was like different for them. They didn't enslave people. They were all really poor farmers
Sure.
and stuff. Like some of those areas even fought like with the Union, and it just
you're
was
talking about West Virginia, and it's
Yeah,
right in between. Yeah, okay.
And then it talks about coal and how coal companies come in there and bought, all the land surrounding these areas. So if you ever wanted a job that wasn't coal, you'd have to travel so far, And you know
or
what I
start
like about
moonshining.
Yeah, what I like about fiction is it takes like really good fiction. It'll take like say like these statistics or things from like history or the news or whatever, my nonfiction consumption, and like play out the story of what a statistic in these situations really looks like.
Sure.
And like with real facts, like
Through
Purdue
lies.
Pharma.
Fiction is just lies with shiny details. I refuse to read fiction. I only read the New
all
York Post.
lies,
No, actually, yeah.
which is totally true.
The only book that I'm still reading it because I don't read it enough, but is Lawn Boy, and I recommend it big time. I love it so far. I'm like 3/4 of the way through, and it's a very easy read, so don't judge me. But
Demon
and
Copperhead
then-
was like trigger warning. There's a lot of stuff about child abuse and stuff in there. But
mine is very light and interesting. I mean, light and a lot of reflection of trying to get out of like working poverty in Seattle, and like and it's pretty good, and trying to be your own man, living on the reservation, being half Hispanic and all this, and working in landscaping. It's a great book. I love it. I, of course, got banned from a bunch of schools because there's talk about gay sex in it and stuff. So it's really, although that was one of those where I'm like, okay, so the fact that there's talk of like gay sex, maybe there's more further into it, but there's this interesting side story that is coming across that I just went through, where it's talking about as kids exploring with another boy, and then later on working for the guy, and all this. It's interesting and funny too. But it's like, so that's what you're picking on, even though this word has like more F-bombs per page than pretty much any book that I've ever read because it's, it's told from the perspective of like this 23-year-old guy or something. And he's just constantly, oh, fuck this and the dialogue is like how people talk, so people are constantly swearing and stuff. And it's like, it was already like, I mean, it's an adult's book. It's not a young adult novel. If a kid's reading it, I mean, if you're in high school reading it, I mean, the whole book thing just drives me nuts. Like, I hate it so much, and I hate Tim Pool so much. And they're just, now I don't know where anything on my soundboard is.
Psychotic, deranged, cultist liars.
But it's like, I read Disclosure when I was like a sophomore in high school. It's just who is that? Michael Crichton or something like that. What a oddly different book for his style, but they made it into a movie with Michael Douglas, I think. Disclosure book. Let me look it up.
Gay actor Michael Douglas.
Michael Crichton, yeah, and and it's kind of a mystery thriller in a way, but I mean, I'd have to read it again. I don't really care, but it was a good book. But there's pretty graphic sex scene near the beginning of it, where it's the guy is kind of sexually assaulted by his female boss in a way, and then it becomes this politics of the office power between that and how he can't call it out because men aren't sexually assaulted, right? Of course, like that doesn't happen. And how would he come forward with this? And then there's corruption within the company and how he could use that. I don't know. And dealing with his personal issues of giving in and having sex with his boss and like
of being raped.
Yeah. And it's like that didn't like, oh, I mean, it's not pornography. It's a fucking book. It's a story. Like, it's Michael Crichton. And so what, did
For Crichton's
sake, pull that out? It's like, what, so kids can read something because it's Michael Crichton. It's the guy who wrote Jurassic Park, The Lost World, it's
Clan of the Cave Bear has a rape scene in it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's stuff like that that's just like, it's not the story. That's what pornography is, where the sex is the story.
Yes.
There are things that happen and encounters that happen, like what happens to people in real life.
Yes. People have sex.
And there are encounters, and, that's just like learning. It's because mental illness is when you're right wing, and you think that learning about something will make you want to do it or something.
Yeah.
It's like no matter how much they're shown all this evidence, like abstinence only education and blah 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 blah, how there is not a correlation between like how dare look at that was so useless as like not
anti-drug.
If you if you actually educated people about these things, like in a wider context, then they wouldn't have so many questions. That came up a lot in that book Demon Copperhead, this boy that had a lot of questions. So in like he didn't really know about his father's death and all this kind of things, and what kids are thinking when they have no fucking idea what's going on. They see things, they have snippets of things, but no one outright explains things to them. They can conjure up big things in their mind about what these things are about. And then when they're actually faced with these situations, they have no idea what they're getting themselves into because they've only had this imaginary thing that a kid's brain came up with. Like they're capable of really understanding, and leaving them out in the dark, like when they've been exposed to things, does them no good.
That's why
it just makes them make things up.
That's why it's disgusting. The whole co-opting of groomer and the quote-unquote anti-groomer movement is so gross because it's like, it all ends up like leading towards these ass backwards keeping sex education away from kids when it's like all you're doing is making kids more susceptible to actual grooming, because when you have this hole in your knowledge and you're developing as a kid, like it just takes one quote unquote cool person, an older person, to fill that that gap in your knowledge for you with the wrong thing. That like that's what grooming it does. It's what it is, and it's like that's what we want to avoid. Not keeping things away from kids. It's like yeah, you can talk about getting pornography out of the libraries and stuff, and it's like, yeah, because like you said, pornography, sex is the objective, like it's the point of it,
it's for arousal.
Yes, it's meant to arouse you for whatever reason, however it may be. Not for whatever reason, however they do so. And it's like, and something that has sex in it, it's like, I mean, Tim Pool talking to Emma Vigeland kept bringing that up, like, oh, they were teaching him how to use Grindr, and it's like, no, there's just something that mentioned someone being on adult dating apps. It's like, what, if they if they're reading about some novel about a soldier in the Civil War, is it teaching him how to murder Southerners? No, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, Star Wars taught me how to speak to Wookiees. It's like, that's not what it's about. What are you talking about? Just being exposed to concepts isn't advocating for them.
That's something that I wrote down the other day, something about what we like about children and how people want to preserve their innocence. But innocence is not synonymous, like, it's not the ignorance that we love about children. Like, it's about their ability to be open to new things and learn and, like, questioning and just being not cynical and stuff like that. And you can know a lot of things and not be cynical. Taking away some of their ignorance doesn't have to take away the innocence that people can feel in the way of like optimism, and being like open to new things and not letting, the reality of the world that sometimes horrible things happen or on purpose or not or whatever.
Real, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to like make you a hard, jaded, cynical adult.
I mean, it
like,
will.
You can still be...
But it doesn't have to.
You can work against it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that, that...
Yeah,
it's just
you don't
so
think.
much
We got it.
About kids, like, not deserving or being able to understand some of these things. They're just humans. Like, they're just young humans.
Yeah.
That's what they are. And, like, you can introduce concepts to them in a way that they can understand because they only have so many concepts of, like, language and like a foundation of knowledge to draw from, but the things are going on around them and they're noticing them. They notice things and they hear and they listen and they have questions, and so like trying to keep that, it just is so against like humanity. Like kids are always questioning everything and wanting to know more and wanting to learn more, so trying to keep it from them, for so many reasons, it's just such a stupid fucking idea that keeps us backwards. I'm not not like kids can't be protected from some like violent things which do have an effect on kids like upbringing. There are things that really actually
can traumatize children.
Yes.
Just like how things can traumatize adults,
For sure, yeah, because they're human.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and it's just so much easier to leave it at that. Be like, and some things are kind of case by case. Anything sweeping, like we can't have this for children or whatever, usually isn't a great idea. The more broad something is, the worse it's going to be. And like, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but I'll just say your comments.
So thoughtful. So thoughtful.
Yeah, exactly.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
That's what we do
groomer,
here.
That groomer, not that groomer that was talking, but that groomer video that Some More News just put out.
That's what I liked. I was going to try to say... I liked that video so much. Everyone should go out and watch the video essay by Some More News about grooming or groomers and the groomer panic and stuff.
And who is really a groomer?
And even if you know everything that they presented, like in terms of the ideas and stuff, which just with all the fucking stupid discourse right now. I pretty much knew most of that, but the way that Cody Johnston presented it and did these really good simplified A versus B things. There was like this section, like the middle section of the video, I thought was just so good. Like just certain ways of explaining it where it's just like, all right, we all understand. They're talking about like, oh, what are they grooming kids to be trans and all this stupid nonsense that people unironically believe. And it's like, I mean, that besides the fact that so many trans people come out every time that comes up and say, I'd never heard of anything like that in my life. And of course, it wasn't represented in media, but I knew that I was transgender without the words when I was 7 years old or something. It's like, no one groomed me into it. And society does the opposite. But like,
they literally have straight camps. Pray the gay way.
So I was going to say, and he says, and even, I mean, most normal people understand or acknowledge that, like, conversion therapy does not work. Like, things don't work that way. And it's like, so.
Unless your goal is to make them twice as likely to commit or attempt suicide.
But I mean, most normal people, if you're engaging in this discussion, know that conversion therapy doesn't work. Things don't work like that. And that is grooming someone in their usage of the word grooming someone into being straight or whatever. It's like, so why would it work the opposite way? It doesn't work like that. It's just a fact. Like, you have to accept this. But anyway. That
episode was kind of, it was
good.
Pretty,
it was a little heavy.
A
lot of those are. I didn't think it was too bad. I mean child sex abuse, who cares? Whatever. But
it felt, triggering or whatever. Like all the talk of grooming and like the real definition of it and stuff. It was like bringing back memories.
Sure. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
people experience and or see it.
And then it makes you so fucking mad to hear Marjorie Taylor Greene say that every single Democrat is a pedophile. And it's like, bitch, you have no idea what you're talking about. To say that, these people that are support the LGBTQ community in the most broad, vague ways that they can is the same as like some 50-year-old man, like, touching a 10-year-old girl, like, and getting her alone to do that kind of stuff. Tell me that's the same fucking thing, you thick-necked Neanderthal bitch. I fucking hate that stupid cunt. She's so stupid. She makes me so mad because of how not empathetic or compassionate. It's like, what are you even saying? What are you even saying?
Sounds like you're pretty into this, buddy.
No, exactly. And that, I mean, the pedo
we're
thing,
talking about legitimate,
it's like
sex, like children getting, like little girls getting fucking pregnant by their dads.
Yes.
You dumb bitch.
All you're doing,
stupid fucking cunt.
With both the wild pedophile accusations and with the just go-to groomer response, you're doing, literally all you're doing at best is downplaying what people who have been groomed went through, what people who have been victims of pedophilia have gone through. That's all you're doing. Or it's just like, do you actually care about what is textbook grooming behavior or something? Because like you were saying, like, people have gone through it. We've seen it. We all, most people have some story about, there's the weirdo fucking 26-year-old that was dating a high schooler or something, and everyone's like, this isn't right, and whatever, where they're just, even if they don't have sex with them, it's because they're grooming this kid and are going to fuck him as soon as they turn 18 or whatever it might be. Like, all that stuff is bad, and we've seen it, and there are definitions of grooming. There's a definition of pedophilia and like, all this stuff, and it's just like, it's what the right keeps doing over and over through, I mean, purposefully or not, but it's so commonplace to just take something bad and strip it of all meaning through overusage in situations in which it does not apply, like fake news, grooming, whatever it might, like, constantly, and it's like, are you trying to muddy the waters that much? Are you trying to just...
Matt Walsh?
Yeah. Like once you're in,
because you want to lower the age of consent.
Yeah, it's like, is this purposeful or are you just going along with it because of the fear-based politics propaganda you had shoved down your throat by these fucking idiots? But
I just don't know how they can like talk to a representative from. I know some more news reference them a lot, like the RAIN. Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, like this group that does work for people in these situations, like how they can like see these things from these groups and not be so like disgusted and moved like in a way that's like, oh my God, these are children, and it's over and over again. It's a trusted parent, it's a trusted adult, it's someone in their circle of like friends, in their family. Almost
hardly
like
ever
93%
just a
of the time
stranger with a fucking van. You know, that happens, but
never.
It's
of
not.
Course, but
it's not.
And you're thinking about
standard.
children. It's like, you know what this is doing to children? Their psyche. I do.
Mm-hmm.
It makes children talk about losing innocence in that way because they can't be open. They can't be honest. They have to lie all the time because that's what an adult, an authority figure. That's what's happening in all this. All of the feelings you feel
or anything.
Not even yourself, because you're not even the real person, because you know what's really happening, but you can't be like that to anyone else. At the very informative years, you're fucking up someone's life potentially really badly because depression and all those kinds of things, and we know what happens there, why our life expectancy is being lowered in the United States, you know? When you're thinking of all this, you're thinking about a pride flag is the same thing as a priest getting a girl into his office alone and giving her gifts and telling her she's pretty and touching her back and eventually touching her ass and all this 14-year-old girl stuff. What's wrong with you? Like, legitimately, how can you not even for a second be like, oh my God, this is so like these poor children.
Yeah. And these are the same fucking people that'll then just go around and be like, well, if you didn't like the Sound of Freedom movie, you must be pro-child trafficking. It's like, you have some sort of fucking empathy for this, obviously. You know, it just has to be presented to you by Jim Caviezel, you know, and talked up by some charlatan for you to actually maybe care about what happens to children, you fucking freak. And it's like, yeah, exactly. Just to know that something like this happens and then see Target selling Pride merch and call it grooming. Fuck you. You know, and anyway, so
they're just so
let's not talk
stupid,
about
that's
gay
probably
shit.
what makes me so mad.
It makes me mad to talk about
gay shit
people.
like what, pedophilia?
Yeah, exactly. Oh shit!
Shut the hell up, bitch.
Yeah, well, we were going to talk about gay shit because
this is politics.
But unfortunately, no. Well, let's just shift gears here. Isn't the word movie kind of funny? Like, because they used
Instead
to
of
be
a
called
talkie?
moving pictures. It's a go to the pictures. It's a moving pictures, so you call it a movie. It's like, I don't know why I thought that was funny the other day. It just reminded me of Brian Regan's whole talk about
so
the invention of the wireless transmitter radio for troops in the field. What do you call it? A walkie-talkie. See, I walkie and I talkie. You know. And it's like a moving picture. Oh, one of those movies. And we just take it. You never.
Well, they call them talkies, so you know,
Who's
I'm not
they?
surprised. They weren't people at the time.
Yeah.
It
Harold
was the style
Zoid
at the time. Yeah, that's. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I want more emotion. You know, and would it? Yeah, I know.
Would a pie in the face hurt
exactly. And people just running around in the background of a movie going
on a scene where like the president dies.
Yeah, exactly.
This is propaganda.
Yeah. But anyway,
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
I don't know. We've had, like I said, I've been doing very badly with this podcast. I got on track for a little bit. It's almost like I've got some sort of like issue where it's like I get really into certain things and devote too much time to it, and then I stop and I don't finish projects, or I'm on a different track. I don't know what it is. It's just being human as far as I know.
It must just be you.
Yeah, it's just
probably
me.
you're the only person.
Yeah.
And then you get really bummed that you're not getting enough done, so you sleep until 1 p.m.
Hey, shut up. That's not what I did today. It totally is. Yeah.
And then you just repeat.
Yeah, and then I get fucking mad,
It's like,
and I wake up, it's 101 degrees outside. I'm like, well, now I can't do anything. And I was going to work on my truck. Why did I link this? Let's look at something different. I saw something interesting.
And now for something completely different.
A man with 3 buttocks.
That's the only one I
saw this
remember.
long. I'll just read this thread instead of an article, but it's an interesting Twitter thread, kind of by lib guy number 157 or something. No, actually, I don't know if he's a lib. But since it's what's funny is that being in leftist online stuff, anyone's talking about Trump in a bad way, it's just like, oh, some libtard. It's like, no, I mean, us leftists also don't like Trump and see the move, that as like a movement of the right. No, I'm just saying, like, your first reaction, if you see it on Twitter, it's like, some liberal. And it's like, oh, wait, yeah, that's right. We all hate Trump.
Oh, no, some of us really hate him,
like,
too.
Oh, there still is interesting information to be gleaned from it. It's not just electoral politics, it's a right-wing movement.
Sure.
But I thought it was interesting, like, and just relevant, maybe, to what you see in life, what I see, that's for sure. Being surrounded by fucking morons constantly, just using
The N-word.
But remembering the first time I know. Oh, so shout out to @JuliusGoat AR Moxon on Twitter. Remembering the first time I knowingly encountered the befuddling thing I would eventually know as MAGA. It was 2008 on Facebook. It was my old college buddy, Stove Minivan. Names have been changed to mock the guilty, it says. So, Stove Minivan. Minivan was a nice enough guy. He was easygoing, a happy guy with a frequently deployed smile. I don't recall much anger from him, nor many strongly held opinions. I wouldn't call him a philosophical type. No deep late-night talks with Stove Minivan is in my recollection. This is the sort of dude I'd hang out with at a party if there was a party we were both at, but not one whom I'd maintain a relationship if we both graduated, then moved to different places, which I know for a fact because that's what happened. We drifted. So then what happened is 12 years or so later, I got on the Facebook, and Stove Minivan was there too, and before long we were friends again, he and I, and so were me and my other college friends, and them with him, and look, you know the drill, it was the Facebook. But Minivan was no longer a pre-med student at a small northern liberal arts college. He was a doctor, a general care practitioner if memory serves, in a smallish Plains state town, very much like many other towns in the Great Plains or elsewhere in the country, I imagine. Anyway, before long I noticed something about Minivan. Even though his feed was full of pictures of him and his lovely family, and he was smiling in them just the same as he always had in college, he was angry. He was enraged. What was he angry about? The demon rats. The Democrats, of course.
Yeah.
Minivan was absolutely enraged about everything the demon rats did. He was also out of his mind about Hillary and Obama, the leaders of the demon rats. Or at least they were the front for the real leader of the demon rats, who even back then, I believe, was George Soros. What did the demon rats do? Oh my heck, what didn't they do? Mostly they hated America and American security and American economic strength, it seems. They engaged in corruption and bowed to foreign powers a lot. Remember that whole thing? Obama bowed to a foreign leader.
Feckless dictator.
Oh my God. Sean Hannity wouldn't stop talking about the fact that Obama politely bowed to Ahmadinejad or something before diplomacy talks. Oh, so they just couldn't get enough of that shit. They shredded the dignity of the presidency, that's for sure. Minivan's worldview wasn't particularly coherent, if you want to know the truth. Gosh, we couldn't have guessed, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't help to notice that the demon rats weren't actually doing many of the things that Minivan thought they were doing. And I noticed other things. For example, I couldn't help but notice that a lot of the policies Minivan supported were directly causing the sorts of problems that made Minivan so angry. And I couldn't help but notice that well-sourced information enraged him more than pretty much anything else. So this is where it gets very relatable, right?
Yeah.
There were a lot of linking to sites I'd never heard of, like Breitbart and Newsmax, and of course plenty of Fox News. There were a lot of memes. There were a lot of conspiracy theories. A big birther guy was Minivan. Some of his posts contained subtle bigotry. Most of the rest contained not subtle bigotry. Several of them contained slogans and statements that were, very simply, neo-Nazi and white supremacist memes and shibboleths? I don't know that word. I'm an idiot.
I've never heard that word. Yeah.
Hey, Google. Oh, it's not working.
How do you spell it?
Hey, Google. What is a shibboleth?
Here's the definition of shibboleth. A custom, principle, or belief distinguishing a particular class or group of people, especially a long-standing one regarded as outmoded or no longer important.
Oh.
So what was the sentence?
Okay. We're all learning here on Inane Blather. We're really good at this stuff. Oh, yeah, white supremacist memes and shibboleths. Okay, I see.
Okay.
There was a lot of commentary accompanying these posts from Minivan, who was saying shocking stuff for a small-town family doctor. The sorts of things that it seemed to me would make people not want to use this person as a doctor, or sit next to that person on a bus. I hadn't heard of Alex Jones yet, but Minivan sounded a lot like Alex Jones, word for word and beat for beat. He'd even start his posts like a right-wing radio host. Quote, "Sorry, folks, but you can't even make stuff like this up." You know, that really rang true. Ironically, accompanying things that had been made up. This was all pretty distressing to those of us who had known Minivan back in the day, before he had become so obsessed with demon rats. So a lot of us, myself included, did exactly what the Facebook wants. We engaged with him.
Engaged, yeah.
At the time, my belief was you defeated bad ideas with better ideas, by confronting the bad ideas directly with the better ideas. Debate was for changing minds. You presented your ideas, they presented theirs, you countered, they countered. Eventually, everybody saw the truth. But the intention was that I'd change his mind, with facts presented logically, delivered calmly and patiently. This was my belief. What happened confounded me, but perhaps you can predict it. What's going on in the background? What are you doing?
Kelsey just walked past playing some music to water the plants.
Oh, that's cool.
Shut the window.
What's she listening to?
I don't know. Some indie rock, I'm
indie,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Minivan escalated any correction, however calmly stated or bloodlessly presented, into scorched earth territory. He rejected all proofs by rejecting the source outright as irrevocably tainted by bias, or he'd spiral into non sequitur, spamming our feeds with more misinformation. He would claim he never said things he had just said, even though the statements were still there for anybody to read. One comment earlier in the thread. He'd claim that I said things I'd never said, as anyone foolish enough to read through our conversations could discover. He demonstrated a complete dedication to his ignorance and anger, and a total disinterest in anything like observable truth that contradicted his grievance. It was confounding and unfamiliar behavior to me at the time. All of it was larded with grievance, a sense that people like him had never wronged anybody, and everybody else had done nothing but wrong people like him. The bigotry and authoritarianism grew, and all the time, on Facebook, he and his family kept smiling their perfect smiles. I'll admit that over time, my interactions stopped being polite and bloodless. I'm not particularly sorry for it. I told him some things about himself he seemed not to know, but which I thought really ought to be said. What a great way of putting that.
Yeah,
I like it.
He seemed to not know. Yeah,
I have a bit of a penchant for sarcasm, which you may have noticed. So this is where I was like, was this guy like some lib?
Really?
Yeah.
No.
How old is this person? I employed this skill, and you can feel how you want to about sarcasm, but I think it helped convey the correct posture to take towards someone who says the sorts of things Minivan was saying. The correct posture being, you have proved yourself to be a person who should not be taken seriously, and your positions do not deserve even a modicum of respect. I found this a more healthy message to convey about Minivan to anybody watching, and I still do. Eventually he blocked me and he was out of my life forever. It was the right choice, and I'm very glad he did that. I've pondered the incident since, as it's become more and more relevant to, quote, the way things are. a few things have become clear over time. Minivan was not somebody whose intentions could be trusted. He was not operating in good faith, and I believe he well knew it because many of his favorite sources of information have written instruction books on how to engage with people in bad faith. Minivan was not debating. He was using debate to inject his counterfactual beliefs into the discourse, which were designed to further marginalize already marginalized people while simultaneously cloaking himself in self-exonerating grievance. More, he was exerting an active effort to not know the things that could be easily known and to demand to be convinced out of deliberate ignorance, not because he was interested in having his ideas challenged, but because he demanded a world which he got to decide what was real. Yeah, it's funny. It's like, gosh, these people really are the fucking postmodernists in the end, because reality has no...
Pretty subjective, I would say. Yeah.
Further still, Minivan learned from me. The effect of telling him he was using one or another logical fallacy was not to sharpen his reasoning, but to teach him about the existence of logical fallacies, which let him incorrectly accuse others of those same logical fallacies. It's like you're turning them into a debate, bro, but they're already locked into their propaganda dream world.
That's like abusers learning therapy speak.
Ooh,
it's really
good
dangerous.
One. Yeah. So Minivan was deploying the language of logic in ways that betrayed a total lack of understanding about what those fallacies were, granted, but in ways that likely made him seem more knowledgeable and reasonable to a casual or sympathetic observer, or like a teenage boy reading through this crap, getting into politics. He learned to ape our phrases and arguments in much the way he'd learned to ape the style of Alex Jones and all the various Breitbart and Newsmax contributors he used to inform himself. And these days it occurs to me, I hear a lot about groomers. We were not changing him by engaging with him thoughtfully. We certainly weren't changing him by engaging him with him in kind. Rather, we were making him better at what he was doing, and we were validating his worldview to himself and others as one that merited engagement. And week after week on Facebook, Minivan kept smiling and getting angrier and angrier at us and Obama and all the other demon rats and liberals and every member of every minority group who dared to fail to ceaselessly assure him that he was right about everything. I don't miss Minivan's black hole sun smile. I think of it as my first hint of MAGA, politically overrepresented, socially coddled people, often living outwardly happy, privileged lives, while seething inwardly that people might be getting anything at all. Yeah, that other people might be getting anything.
Yeah.
Indeed, soon enough, another figure would come on the scene whose behavior matched that of Minivan almost exactly. A perfect avatar for his spirit of aggrieved bigotry and supremacy that seemed to be moving through my former friend. And sure enough, as I saw, there were millions and millions of smiling, seething people who loved him. And that guy became president. Nobody believed he would, and then he did. Because Stove Minivan, it turns out, wasn't some weird outlier. He was part of a growing new normal, a group of people who had been offered a chance to immigrate from observable reality and enter a dark world of constant hostility, misinformation, and self-loving grievance. It's an invitation they leapt at, to which they cling even now. There's more to this too, but it's just like, yeah, that's another part of it where it's like, how do you get these people out of it when they so desperately cling to like an ideology or perception of the world and politics that makes them unhappy? Like, there's enough to be unhappy about. Like, and it's just like purposeful, like self-flagellating, like, and at the same time cry bullying, weird stuff that's just negative in every way possible.
I think it's because they're defensive, because what is this, some white guy? That it's like,
you think?
You gotta be on the defense so you, so you don't have to face the
Stove
reality.
Minivan, what is that, Norwegian?
Of other people's lives. It's like white fragility. That's what he's talking about. That makes people so mad and defensive instead of wanting to be introspective, because you feel like whatever guilt or sort of maybe some things bring up that would be a blow to your ego, because there haven't been things that would be like that for white people.
And plus,
it
so often. Oh, sorry for interrupting, but I don't care. Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but
I hate women.
So no, but it's like
that. Actually, wait. I was going to say that just reminded me of something Thought Slime said one time. This guy just reminds me of a sentence that Thought Slime said that stuck with me. It said, "A lot of what we consider intelligence is just false confidence masquerading as expertise." And like all of this confidence that is so unearned, where like these guys, these white guys in like that's what part of their privilege is too. Like that their opinion is not being taken seriously, and they're whatever. But it should be, because it's the right opinion, because they have it.
Yes.
Like,
and it's like, and that's the thing. And I bring this up a lot. I don't know if I bring it up a lot on the show, but talking to you and stuff like that. And I wish I had a better way of laying it out or explaining it, because I'm not the smartest person. That's for sure. But
oh no!
But like,
it's really crushing. I thought you were.
That's the difference between someone and this is really common. People get into political discourse or whatever it might be. They get into quote unquote politics and news, and just start pasting their opinions over this shaky sphere of like their opinion of the way the world should be run. There's no without having like foundational.
And they're just making the leaps between connections.
It's just without having any foundational values that extend out towards, like, you don't have a set of beliefs. You don't have like an ideology. You don't have a set of values that informs what your opinion will be on a certain topic. You just hear the topic and you have an opinion. And then those are all pasted together into this jumbled mess that is your, often right-wing ideology, that it's so meaningless, and it's all built on it's just a house on sand, and like, which makes it even easier for a fucking demagogue to come in and indoctrinate you into their following, because you don't it just means
wake up, sheeple.
It just means that you can change your opinion on things very easily and still have so much conviction about it. And the thing is, just quote unquote getting into politics can really get you in. It doesn't matter like how, it's all, once you're engaged in political discourse, or which, we can say everything is, but it's like it politics. Affects you, like, and you see how it affects the world. And so it's important, or it at least seems important.
This is politics.
And so it's easy to have such be. See, now I'm running out of words.
Feel like you have strong opinions.
Have such strong conviction about it.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't put any thought into it, or you didn't have...
And then they double down.
Yes, and you didn't have values, a baseline of values that informed those decisions that you can just stand by, so that, this demagogue or this political party can do things that you disagree with. And you say, well, I disagree with that because blank, No, you are the type of person that will be blindly following marching orders. And anyway, this is getting pretty long, so let's wrap it up. Sorry, I just thought that was interesting. There's even more to read in here too, but
I like the way they
went. And I liked the just the idea that it's like engagement. There's that whole platforming people, or just your one-on-one conversations and stuff, when you have to realize not only you're not going to change this person's mind, but then you think, well, it could change someone else's mind that's reading the comments, which is always like this stupid justification you get when you're just arguing with people online. But it's like, you could just be
I just feel strongly about this.
And it's like, you can say what you want, but it's like just the thought that it's like you could be kind of honing this ignorant, hateful person's rhetorical techniques by engaging with them. So it's something to be aware of and be careful of is all I'm thinking. So, I mean, the easiest way is you just round up all these people and gas them, but it's just...
with laughing gas, and then we put some acid in their water, and we all have a nice picnic, and we all just talk about our feelings, and they talk about their moms, and everyone feels way better afterwards, and they're like, wow, I feel like, I have a lot of work to do. And like,
Zyklon B or whatever, whatever it's called.
I was not,
No, I was thinking, more THC and less Zyklon B.
Let's get gas.
Get that real straight gas, bro. Okay, all right. Well, I love you. Shout out again to Zach.
I love you
Thanks
too.
for working on my sister's house, and shout out to Kelsey. We love you. Shout out to Wendy, who I don't know how many episodes will come out now since when I just talked to you the other day and you said, what the heck? I feel like a stalker waiting for you to upload something. And so I feel so bad. So we'll keep churning them out.
Someone wants to listen to it.
Even though
boring
is the descriptor for our show, I guess.
Trump's a racist.
That's like the tag that...
Stop him.
The tag that Spotify gives us is like boring. Like when you search for boring thing, I'm like, wait, we didn't do that.
The tag is...
This is propaganda.
So, and I am proud of it.
Trump's a racist.
The tag for Inane Blather.
Suck my dick, idiot.
Okay, well, we love you all. Shout out to R.M. Brown.
Love every single... Our Lord and Savior.
Inane Blather.
Oh, that's not what I was looking for. Oh.
That was a really nice one. Thanks, Inane Blather.
Okay. All right.
You're welcome.
Owned.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. I love you. Bye.